And Wes, so many people are comparing the fact that this winter weather event is happening this week for Super Bowl, and it's happened before.
Oh yeah, let's take a look back from the last time Super Bowl was here in 2000 for the Ice Jam. Lots and lots of ice, of course. The kind of two bouts of ice that we had to deal with. The first happened several days before the Super Bowl, which still caused some very, very big impacts. We'll call it Ice Storm 1 from January 22nd and January 23rd. We had as much as 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of ice accumulation. About 500,000 people were out of power. And of course, it took several days to restore all of that power. And of course, the second round of ice that happened just a couple of days before the Super Bowl when folks were probably moving into town or coming to town heavily. It wasn't as much ice, about 1/4 of an inch of ice accumulation, but it did cause some massive travel headaches. A 47-car wreck on I-20 from all of that ice, and overall, it caused the state about $48 million in losses. Thankfully, this setup for winter weather is much, much different than what we're talking about from 2000. Not expecting freezing rain, maybe a little bit of sleet, but the only time we're worried about those roads and they get slippery is when temperatures drop into the 20s Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Of course, we'll be keeping a close eye on that, Chris.
Yeah, and that's why we have this winter storm warning and also winter weather advisory in effect. First, because of the snow, we're expecting the potential for 1 to 3 inches of snow up in far north Georgia with the winter storm warning in effect. Black ice could develop later in the day as well. And then the winter weather advisory for much of metro Atlanta, roughly along the I-85 corridor westward, with around 1 inch or less of snow. Here's a look at our hand-drawn projections of what we think is going to happen based on the computer models that we've seen around Atlanta, around 1 inch or less here. But over to the west and north, we might see some higher amounts between 1 and 2 inches, including parts of Carroll County on up through parts of Pickens County, Fannin and Gilmer. And then far northwest Georgia could see up to 3 or 4 inches of snow as the whole system moves on through. I think they'll have a better chance with that colder air and moisture for a little longer up in northwest Georgia. Here's the timeline in the morning. Again, I've said this over and over again. If you're expecting to wake up in the morning and see snow on the ground, that's not going to happen. It's going to be dry in the morning and warm with temperatures in the 40s. It's in northwest Georgia where that snow starts to come in. And then 8 o'clock, still nothing in Atlanta. Once we get to mid-morning, the rain starts to move in. And then later in the morning to around lunchtime, that's when it changes over to snow. This is where we can see some of those accumulations. And then after lunch, this pushes to the east and the precip ends. But then look at that. The freezing line by 6, 7 o'clock dips well down to the south. So any moisture that doesn't have time to dry up, that's what's going to freeze up into that black ice. So temperatures kind of backwards tomorrow. 40s in the morning, 30s in the afternoon, then really cold Wednesday morning down to 24 with a high of 42. We're dry Thursday and Friday, warming back to the 50s. A slight chance for showers Saturday. Super Bowl Sunday, not a washout, but a 30% chance for showers and a high of 60 degrees, then 64 and drying on Monday.